Hi everyone, Jamie Madison here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today's card is going to be featuring the September card kit, Look for the Rainbow stamp set. This beautiful stamp set comes with beautiful flowers and beautiful sentiments. I'm going to be stamping down these 3 flowers on some Bristol Smooth cardstock using my Gina K Amalgam ink. I do stamp this twice on this cardstock to get a good impression, but I do let this dry quite a while because we're going to be using some Copics. I went ahead and made the, plunge into the Copic family and bought me my first pack of 72 Copics. I went ahead and went with the Copic chows because I do have small hands and I like the pen design that the chows came with. I like how thin they are versus the sketch. So no fear, I will keep all of my Copics in the left-hand corner for you as I am coloring so you know what colors I use. I tried to keep this flower very delicate. I didn't want to use a whole bunch of color, and I am new to using Copic, so there is going to be a little bit of a learning curve. For this flower, I went in with my lightest color to make sure I remembered where I wanted my highlights to be. Then I went in with my medium color and lightly flicked towards my light color that's going to be in the center. This way I get a good transition and it blends a little bit easier whenever I go to use my other color. I did notice that if I don't let my ink dry on this Bristol Smooth paper, it will smear a little bit. So make sure if you're using a Bristol Smooth paper to let the ink dry a little bit longer. I came in this problem with my watercolors a while back, and every time I went to do a card or a painting, my ink was smearing, and it came down to the Bristol Smooth is the problem. The problem with the Bristol Smooth is the ink likes to sit on top of the paper. So knowing that, when I went in with my Copics, it didn't surprise me that they did the exact same thing. So whenever I'm going to be doing a card, I'm just going to stamp out my things, get my stuff together so that has time to dry. I went in with my darker color in the shadowy areas, and then I'm going to go back in with my lightest color and blend those two together. I did a petal, one petal in kind of real time. I sped it up just a tad bit just because I was kind of talking myself through it, working how I wanted to do this. And then the rest of the petals I went ahead and sped up so you didn't have to wait forever to see me color one petal. I went ahead and did one flower, and the rest I did off camera just because I figured if you've seen how I did one, you probably don't want to have to see how I do all of them. But let me know down below if you want a longer video with me just doing some coloring. I find coloring very relaxing, and I love watching Christina Warner just do her coloring. It doesn't even need music. I could just sit there and just daze out watching it. So I did the same thing with all the petals. I did my lightest color, and then I went in with my medium color, and then I went in with my darkest color to blend it, went back in with that light color to make it all blend together. I did find that Copics are a little bit easier than watercolor and it goes so much faster. I'm probably going to be using them quite a bit for a while just so I can start making my skill a little bit better with them. I hope you guys don't mind, but don't worry, I will be going back and forth with watercolor because I love all the mediums. They're so fun to play with. After my flower petals were all colored in, I went in with a color pencil that was kind of a little bit towards the darker side of the colors that I chose. I went in and added just a little bit of a shadow at the bottoms and at the very, very top of the petals. I wanted to give it a little bit more of a transition. You really can't tell, but in real life you can. It just looks beautiful. It blends so well and it gives it that little bit more of a darker feeling to it. It makes the white stand out just a little bit more. After my color pencil, I went in for the center of the flower. Now the center of the flower kind of intimidated me, I'm not going to lie. I didn't want it to look just splotchy and brown, but I also didn't want to do yellow either. So I went in with a nice tan, and then I took my browns, all my browns that I had, and I just started doing little dots everywhere. I kept the focus of the darker dots at the bottom of the bud, and then towards the center of the flower I did a little bit more white, and then I took my white gel pen just to give it a little bit more of a highlight at the very tip. I really liked the way this turned out, and I was very surprised that my first take went pretty well. Moving on to the actual card, I'm going to bring out the embossing folder that came in this September kit. Now, instead of doing embossing just with plain paper, I went in with my Gina K amalgam ink, and I'm going to put that all over the embossing side, so the side that's raised up, not the side that indents. I'm just going to rub that all over and make sure it's very well coated. Then I'm going to use the clean side and put down another piece of my Bristol Smooth cardstock. This is the same size of an A2 size card. I have these pre-cut, so they come in handy when I just need to grab a piece of paper. Tape it down, and I'm going to make sure I hold it very tightly while I run it through my die cut machine. I didn't want it to smear at all, and whenever it comes out, it's just beautiful. It has the embossing effect of it, but it also has the black from the ink. It just looks beautiful. I love the way it turned out. Now, if you push too hard on your ink pad, you will get some smearing where the white should be. That didn't bother me any though. I figured it's just a nice little touch. And I was going to cut some off anyway, so I figured you wouldn't really see it. I went ahead and cut it to an A2 size card, and then I went ahead and measured how much I wanted an angle to be on this card. I can't get over how beautiful that embossing technique turned out. I believe Jennifer McGuire did this. I went ahead and decided how much of an angle I wanted it to be on my card, and then I went ahead and cut it. The good thing about doing angles is always start a little bit longer than you expect, and you can always trim off a little bit more, which is what I did. I wanted it to be a little bit shorter, so I just trimmed it, and it was perfect. Now we can go ahead and adhere this onto our card base. For this card base, I am using just a A2 size card base. This is Michael cardstock, and I'm adhering this beautiful embossing pattern down with my ATG roller. I don't recommend this. The reason I don't recommend it is it kind of didn't want to adhere down. The tape, once it was pushed down, it was fine, but getting the tape to adhere to the embossing panel was a little bit difficult. After I had that adhered down, I went in with my flowers. These I had cut out with my Brother Scan and Cut machine. Like I said, this machine is just so handy. I'm going to be probably using it every single card. It just makes my life so much easier. I went ahead and placed my flowers where I thought they would look nice, and once I got the perfect position, I went ahead and started adhering them down. For my big flower, I adhered it with some Gina K Connect glue, which I'm starting to run out of, but I have a spare somewhere. I just gotta find it. More organization is to come. So I went ahead and adhered half of it down with the glue, and the other half I'm going to pop up with some foam tape at the very end. After I have my flower placed where I like it, I went ahead and adhered some leaves that I cut out, and I also colored with my Copic markers. For the colors of my Copics that I used for the leaves, I'll go ahead and pop in the left-hand corner real quick for you, just in case you are curious how this turned out. I thought the color transition was really pretty. It was more of a bluer green, so it really complemented the flowers. I ended up loving this card so much, I did 3 more after this. And one of them I just fell in love with. It's like an orange color, you'll see at the very end. I went ahead and adhered my leaves down as well with my Gina K Connect glue. And then for my littler flower, I went ahead and popped up with some foam tape. This card just came together so beautifully, and I just love the way the simplicity of it worked. After I have my flowers put where I like them, I went ahead and stamped out "Thinking of You" on some black cardstock with some white embossing powder. This "Thinking of You" stamp also came from Look for the Rainbow stamp set. I went ahead and popped that up with some foam tape as well, and then we are almost done with the card. The only thing that I decided to do was I used some black Nuvo drops just to bring some of the black element of the bottom up to the top. This is completely optional, and you don't have to do it if you like the simplicity of this card, but I decided that I wanted to go ahead and do it. I think next time if I was to do this, I would make the drops a little bit bigger in size, maybe not all the same size, maybe do one bigger drop, a medium, and then a small. But I did do them in 3s because I know 3s are easier on the eyes and it draws more attention. But like I said, I would probably have done the drops a little bit bigger if I was to do it again. So here is my final card, and here are the 3 cards that I made using this card kit. I really hope you enjoy, and I will see you next time. Bye!
Savannah.